Stop writing MVVM code and let the Community Toolkit generate it all for you. I've talked about it before in previous videos, but MVVM source generators are absolutely amazing. And I've learned a lot since my original video. And there's a new version that introduces some brand new features that I'm going to break down for you today. So tune in. Hey everyone, I'm James, and I'm back again talking about MVVM source generators, part of the .NET Community Toolkit. I've talked about them in previous videos at .NET Conf. Sergio broke down everything new in version 8.1, but I've learned a lot since my original videos. I've been using them in tons of my applications, and there are just a plethora of new features that I want to break down for you that maybe have actually been around for a while, but I didn't include in my video because I didn't know they exist. And then Sergio told me they exist. And I want to let you know about all of the awesome features because the more I use this toolkit, the more I absolutely love it. So let's go and break it all down. All right, first things first, over here, this is a .NET MAUI application, but this community toolkit works with pretty much anything. I have a .NET MAUI app, I have a Xamarin Forms example, I have a WPF example, I have a WPF.NET Framework example. Now you do need to put your code in a .NET standard library and go into your CS proj and update your Langver over here to at least be C#, I think 8 or 9 or something like that. The tools will tell you, but everything is here for you automatically. Now, let me go ahead and run this application really quick. This is my MVVM source generator sample that I used as an example in my previous video. It's a very simple application over here that has a first name field, James, and a last name field, Montemagno here. I can click the submit button and it goes and it parses some data. It waits a little bit, and then it will pop up a dialog box using the guard methods in the community toolkit. Now, if we look at the source code here in the main view model, we're going to notice a few things. First, I'm using these cool attributes that are coming from the MVVM source generators. We can see here, there's the community toolkit stuff. Down here, I have an observable property of first name and another one of last name. And note that I have another public property here that is concatenating first name and last name. And we've added this NETIfyPropertyChanged for both of these properties. And then down here, I have a simple method and it has this relay command on top. Now, previously this was iCommand and also notify for, but in the final version of 8.0, they changed the names here, and I've updated my example so you can now see them. Now, the cool part here is that this doesn't really look like normal property changed events. And also, like, how is INotifyPropertyChanged getting implemented here? Well, that's all because of source generators. Those attributes are source generating behind the scenes. If I go into my analyzers, I can look at the MVVM source generators. Down over into the INotifyPropertyChanged, we're going to notice that this is a partial class, and all of this code has been generated for me automatically. A little more so, easily enough, is the property changed events. Now, this is source generated code, so it looks a little complex, but what we see is it generates first name, it gives us our get and our sets, and it optimizes the code and raises those property changed events for first name and full name. And we can see it here, last name and full name as well. So that's really, really cool. Now, a few things that I will also note that I didn't know existed before is sometimes you might want to do things when things change, and there are partial methods to do that. If you look at the source generated code, they're right there. So this is actually really neat. So let's say, for example, you needed to not just go in and execute a notify property changed event like we can do with the source generator. Maybe you needed to execute some other code, for example, whenever that property changed. You can do partial. And here, if I zoom in, you'll see that for every property, you get an on first name, on last name changed and changing event. So here, if on first name changed, I could go in and I could go ahead and, I don't know, like, display an alert. So let's grab an alert notification down here and then just say, changed. I don't know, for some reason. And we'll say value. Let's output the value, right? So now just like that, I've taken this and I've said whenever first name changed, of course, execute the value changed event, but then also raise this alert dialog. So I'm just going to make this smaller and I'll say D, boom, just like that. Look how fast it was. Basically, it now has notified that up, and that's going to be a bad experience there. But that's really neat in case you need to do something. And some people have noted that additionally, that sometimes there are multiple attributes and those stack up. Wouldn't it be nice to have those attributes on one line? Sure. Just like put their attributes on one line. That works as well. That will generate the same source code. Whatever you like, it's totally up to you. This works really great. So you can just add those attributes there and handle everything for you. I like them on separate lines. That's my opinion. All right. The other one down here is something that has been built in since 8.0, which is the relay command. And this was iCommand previously. Now it's relay command. This will handle synchronous or asynchronous tasks. And we can see that this is basically going through, awaiting, and parsing some data. So sort of mimicking a network call. Now, if we look over at the source generators, what this has done for us is it's implemented this submit, and it's created a submit command. And this is of type iasync relay command, and we can see that it's implemented in async relay command. Now, inside of here, what's really neat is it gives you additional properties and ways of canceling and getting insight if that command is running. So normally what I would do inside of here is I'd have something like a bool is busy, and then I would make this an observable property. And then what I would do down here is I would say like, is busy equals true, right? And I'd make that a, is busy, of course. And then I'd say, false, basically, something like that, right? So a little is busy true or false. And then I'd go back over to my UI and I'd adjust that back and forth based if I want to do a little spinner or something like that. Well, you don't need to do that because there's a bunch of stuff built into the relay command. So let's get rid of this stuff because we don't need it. And I'm going to go into my main page. Here I have an activity indicator, but it's not running. It doesn't know when to run, doesn't know when it is busy. So what we can do is I can say is running, and we'll do a binding here to specifically the submit command dot. And what I want to show you here, if we zoom in, is that there is a can be canceled, execution task, is cancellation requested, and is running. So I could bind is running and is visible to the binding submit command dot is running, just like that. Let's go ahead and run this one more time. And we should see for about that 5 second when that submit command is executed that it goes ahead and runs. So let's go ahead and do this here. I'm going to type in my James Montemagno, click submit. And just like that, our activity indicator is running. It's mind-boggling. It's like so unbelievably cool. And here we get our guards and we can see that that's gone off and running, and boom, just like that, it's done. So that's really neat because no matter what, if there's an exception, there's something else, when this thing is done, you don't need to add extra code into it. So that is really, really cool. One less variable, one less thing, because the command knows if it's in the execution block automatically. That's pretty unbelievably cool. All right. So those are some of the new features that I've noticed as I've been going through this. I've also noted here that while I do come in and I add this attribute of NotifyPropertyChanged, there is a built-in class that you can inherit from called ObservableObject. Now, ObservableObject, if I go over here, we can see that this is coming from the Community Toolkit, and it implements INotifyPropertyChanged and NotifyPropertyChanging. So up to you. If you're able to inherit from a base object, then go for it. Else, just go ahead and add that attribute up top, and your code will be source generated for you. So either way there, really, really nice. All right, let's talk about new features. Now, inside of 8.1, we're in preview 1, so I got preview in here, so it may change over time. I don't want to say anything in case they change their attribute names, but they have done tons of performance improvements and other optimizations to all of the generated code. So just for free, by upgrading, you'll get optimizations. But they've also added the ability to set different JSON properties and JSON attributes. Now, since the code is generated for us there previously was no way, if we were serializing that or deserializing that, to use different JSON properties. So that's kind of a bummer, right? If you're using the system text JSON stuff, you want to add those attributes on top of it to say this is required, or don't use first name, use name, or use FN, for example. But now you can do that. So specifically, if you have version 8.1 preview 1, you can now add another attribute on top of this. So I can go in and I can use property. This is a really neat thing they did, and Sergio breaks down everything in more detail around why they pick these things in the release notes and in the .NET Conf video. But I can say JSON, and I can use any of these JSON properties from system text JSON serialization. So I could say required, for example, or I could say property, and I could say JSON property name, and I could say, let's say FN for some reason, right? Maybe that's what it's being serialized to. And I could do that same thing. Maybe last name is not required, but that is LN. Now, when I go back over to my source generated code, let's go ahead and look at the observable properties here. There we go. It will automatically append on those specific attributes for you automatically. So because we applied it to that specific property, we now get the JSON required attribute and the JSON property name attribute as well, which is super duper cool. And we can see down here, we also get LN on our property name attribute. There are so many amazing features in the Community Toolkit. That's just one of them. The .NET Community Toolkit has a bunch of things, including diagnostics, including performance things. There's also a .NET MAUI Community Toolkit. There's a Windows Community Toolkit. There's so many amazing things. I will link to the Community Toolkit GitHub. And of course, I'll link to my sample project right here so you can pull it down, see how it works in .NET MAUI, in WPF, in framework applications, in Xamarin Forms applications, and so much more. If you have any questions, leave them down there. If you like this video at all, or you're using all of these new source generators, give this video a thumbs up. Boom. Hit that subscribe button. Share it with your friends for all of these goodies. But I just want to thank you so much for all of the amazing feedback on the previous video, on the workshop, and every time we show this thing off. I absolutely love it. And I know that you're going to love using these new features. And if you have other things that you found that maybe I didn't cover yet, put them in the comments below. Love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.